I've already walked.
Hello.
I didn't want to bore you with the walk this morning. We're at the same exact park we walked at yesterday. Say good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning from Snoopy. From Coach. This is Coach.
Hello, everybody. I am spinning to my doom.
Spinning into Friday.
Snoopy.
Happy Friday. I hope it's a great one for you. And tomorrow is the weekend.
Snoopy's getting swinged. Woohoo.
Is that fun, Snoopy?
Yeah.
Gentle. You'll be really upset if he falls out.
Oh, Pico.
All right, shall we head home and start our rest of our day?
Yep. Bye for now. Bye.
My goal for today is to clean at least 2 of these shelves. Inside these shelves, first of all, there are things in here that are expired and old and need to be thrown away. Secondly, down inside the shelf is actually really dirty, and I've been procrastinating for a long time on cleaning them. But today's the day. I've set myself a goal. I'm going to do at least 2 of the shelves. If I get 2 done, I'm going to be happy. There will be 2 more that I can do in the next day or 2. But I figure the easiest way to get something done is to actually get started on it. So, let's go with this. Let's do it. I think I'm going to have to take stuff out one at a time. There went my butter. When's the last time you cleaned your refrigerator? I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I cleaned this. I wipe them out, like I, remove stuff and wipe them out here and there, but I haven't actually taken them out and cleaned them in a very long time. All right, second one empty. Let's go to the sink and get these washed. Why we procrastinate so long on doing things, or I say we, I should say I don't know why I procrastinate so long on doing things. Why do I walk by and look at this every day for weeks before I decide to actually just get started on it? It's getting started that's the hard part, right? It's not a hard task. It doesn't take more than probably 15 minutes to get 2 shelves done and all the stuff sorted through. Why is it so hard to get started? Is it because as a mom or a wife or a neurodivergent woman, is it because of that any extra task added on to our already long list of daily things to do is just overwhelming? is it that we stay, or that I stay so bone tired to the core that even when I sleep all night and get plenty of rest and live a fairly low demand lifestyle, that I still feel overwhelmed all the time. Whatever it is, I'm trying to get better. You know, along with moving my body more means, you know, doing more things around the house that should have been done long ago. Look at that, good as new. Didn't take long at all, did it? Also, I really like the smell of bleach, so that kind of gives me some incentive to keep going too. Kind of reminds me of the smell of a swimming pool. Let me dry these off. If you've ever noticed in my kitchen, I have several towels that have something, what do you call that, monogrammed on them? So I have some that have my name that say my kitchen, or some with little designs like this. My stepmom makes these. A lot of years for Christmas, she'll give me some kind of a goodie that she's made. She also does stained glass that's beautiful. I love handmade gifts. I'd rather get a handmade gift or a hand-drawn card than anything you could buy at the store. I think it's the thought, you know. It's easy to walk in a store and buy something for somebody, but to actually put enough thought to make a craft, or to, you know, sit down and draw out a card, it's just so much more thought, more personalized, I guess you would say. Well, I've always cherished little handmade things from anybody. There we go. Okay, these are looking much better. Here's the other one. Let's get them put back in. I should have remembered which shelf they were on. Actually, let's wipe the back of that shelf before we put these back in. Sometimes it's hard only being 5'2". I can't see a lot of stuff that's at an average person's height. An average person can see this. Even on my tippy toes, I can't see it. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was. It looks nice and it smells nice. Paid more attention to where these were, but I bet I can figure it out. That looks about right. Okay, most of the top two shelves are things that we use fairly often. So I think all of this can be put back in. It's the bottom two shelves that rarely get used. This can go. These are all still good. Garlic, barbecue sauce, coleslaw dressing. I haven't bought coleslaw mix in a long time. I should make that soon. I guess another perk to sorting your items out is you can kind of see what you need to use up and what you need to do with what. I bought this Catalina for a recipe that I thought I was making a replica of when I was a child, a recipe. It did not taste the same at all, so I've decided I do not like Catalina. I think the original recipe that my mom used had French, so I should have used French. But I'm gonna keep this around because when my mom eats here, she likes this dressing. And I broke the lid off. My husband likes blue cheese. I think blue cheese is disgusting. I'm a ranch girl through and through. I got my light ranch, the big bottle. my older son, when he comes over, he eats ranch on everything. And I also like the Zesty Italian. This is light. I like to put this on my wraps and stuff, or salad. So let me put these back up. I'll probably fast forward this part so you don't have to hang around for a long time staring at me. We have both of these and nobody uses them. I don't know what to do with them. I don't want to throw them away. Maybe I'll see if my grandkids want to take them home. Every time we order Cracker Barrel, we don't order food as often as we used to, but when we do order out, Cracker Barrel is one of our go-tos because Jackson will actually eat something there. He eats the bacon and the biscuit, but they always send us these little packs of butter. We don't use them on our biscuits, so I just save them. I put them in my vegetables or whatever we need butter for. What is it, honey?
Can we do that project in a minute?
I want to. I was going to do it next week for homeschool. We can do it if you want to.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it today.
I'm going to finish my video, okay?
Okay. What is that? I usually look like a grenade.
All right, let's have a look. Much better. A little bit more organized. Definitely more clean. When I do these two, a bunch of this will get thrown away, and then I'll reorganize these and move some of these down. You know what? I'm just gonna do these two while I already have the water going. I already have the water warm and sudsy and bleachy. Let me just get these done. Ew, look at that, gross. The next mission is gonna be these drawers, but not today. That's for another day. Wow. I almost lost the pickles. Maybe this will encourage you to clean something extra today. What do you have in your house that needs cleaned? Or what do you have in your kitchen that needs cleaned? My refrigerator's telling me I left it open. All right. Let's close it for a minute so it can cool back down and not think I'm neglecting it. And let's get these washed. I'm actually, sorry guys, sorry. I'm actually very thankful that my refrigerator does beep like that, because there have been more times than I can count that Jackson will come in here and get a snack or a drink and he will accidentally leave the refrigerator open. So I am glad that it beeps and notifies us that someone needs to come shut the door. We're about to drive all the way across town and go to Target in a few minutes. We don't go to Target very often. We don't go to any store very often, but especially Target. I think it's very overpriced. And it's also not close to us. If we want to just run in a store, we usually run into Walmart or the Dollar Tree or the Dollar General. What is your favorite store to shop at? You know, we order our groceries online most of the time. We don't actually go in the store very often. Here's a fun story for you. I did not go to college until I already had 2 kids when I went to college. I had my older 2 kids. And the year that my, middle son started pre-K. Actually, the first year he started pre-K, I didn't work. He started early because he was nonverbal. But the second year, when he was in the 4-year-old pre-K class, I went to college, so I was older. You know, I already had, he would have been 5 that year, and so I already had a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old because they're 5 years apart. So I went to college later in life, and so I was more mature. I kind of knew what I wanted to do. I knew what classes I wanted to take, and because I guess you could say it was my special interest at the time, I was real gung-ho for it and excited, you know, to do the college life that I had never done as a younger person. So I'm I'm a perfectionist. If I can't do something really, really well, then my brain kind of shuts down and I just don't want to do it. Again, Jackson kind of taught me that this is neurodivergence. I always knew I was this way. I just didn't know there was a reason for it. And, you know, so I can relate to his struggles with school, because if he doesn't think he's going to be good at something and it doesn't come naturally and easy, his brain's just going to shut down. So we have to work around that. But anyway, I took classes that I liked, and I was very much a perfectionist. I was determined that I was going to get an A in every class. Anything that interests me comes naturally to me, or now that I think about it, it's probably the opposite of that. Things that come naturally to me interest me, I guess you could say. So most of my classes were computer classes. I went to college to basically become a secretary. It was a fancy big old long name, you know, administrative assistant. Anyway, the computer classes I knew I'd have no issue with. I was really, really good at a computer. Business math, I knew I'd have no issue with. I can't pass algebra for nothing. Geometry made sense to me, but it was too much memorizing, and I'm just not good at that. But I knew I could pass business math. It was word problems, exactly like Jackson is. He's really good at the word problems because it makes sense when you're, you know, have a living scenario of why you would need to figure this. So I knew I'd do fine there. Accounting, I was a little bit nervous for. I took a beginning accounting class in high school, but I was not very good at it at all. It did not make sense to me. And my ex-husband, he was my boyfriend in high school. I wouldn't have passed the class if he wouldn't have helped me with it. Like it made sense to him, and he helped me with it, with all my homework. So I was a little bit worried for that class, but it was only intro to accounting or beginning accounting, so it wasn't very detailed. So I thought, okay, I can do this. It was more like debits and credits and things like that. The one class I was the most worried about was speech. I am not a public speaker, which is funny that I'm doing YouTube, but I'm not, even though I'm speaking to the public, I'm only in the privacy of my own home speaking to my phone. So speech was the one. And the day you walk in, you know, when you go to college classes, you walk in and you do like an orientation. This is the teacher's expectations. This is how the class is going to go, blah, blah, blah. Well, we walk in and the first thing this teacher says is, I've been teaching for, I don't know, 20, 30 something years. She was older. And in all my years of teaching, I've only ever given one student in the class an A. It's just not attainable in my class. But I want you to know this because I don't want you to get upset or get discouraged because you don't get an A in my class. She said, I have standards and guidelines that I teach by, and if you don't meet those standards, she said, it's just almost impossible to get an A in my class. And she was very nice about it, and she was very, you know, kind of explained her expectations and our expectations and things. But my mind saw that as a challenge. And I thought, okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to get an A in your class. And boy, that was the hardest class I've ever taken in all my years of school. I'd rather suffer through algebra than to take another speech class. We had to give 4 speeches. Each one was over a different type of speech, like an informative speech or I don't even remember. See, this is why public school doesn't help, because you don't even remember. You just do it to pass the thing. But we get 4 types of speeches, and we had to get up and we had to, one was informative and one was directions, like you had to actually make something or do something and show how to do it as you did a speech. This, that, and the other. And I'm going to tell you what, this teacher congratulated me on the last day of classes and told me that she had never had a student like me. And I'm not bragging on myself because I'm not a good student and there's a lot of classes I would fail. But I was not going to let her one class keep me from having all A's. And what got me on this tangent, y'all are probably wondering what this has to do with anything. On my final speech that we had to give, the very final speech, first of all, I did the speech over child abuse, which we know my special interest has always been child development, child trauma, child, disorders or things like that. That's been my special interest probably since junior high or high school. I've always just really enjoyed studying child development type of things. So when I gave my final speech over child abuse, I was very passionate about it, and I knocked it out of the park. And I have to just brag on myself just for a minute. The only thing she marked wrong in my whole entire final speech was that I said often instead of often. And she told me, she said, I was looking for something that I could grade you on because your speech was so fabulous. She said I had to look and listen really hard. But she said the proper way to say the word often is without saying the T, is often. And in my final speech, that is the only thing she marked me wrong for. So this whole tangent is because I just said the word often and I said the T in it. Because now I find myself going back and forth. I'm so used to saying often, but then I think about her all the time when I say it, so I say often. But then I feel like people are gonna think I'm saying it wrong because I've never in my life met another person that says often. So it's a struggle in my literal mind, This beautiful autism mind that's very, very literal. It's a struggle for me to figure out which way I should say it. So all of that was just to say that. But I did graduate. It was a certificate program. It wasn't like a 2-year degree. Although it did take, it took 18 months or 2 years to get it. But it's a certificate program because I didn't have to take like regular English and regular math. It was business communications was the English. The business communications class, the first day of class, the instructor, I actually became really fond of this instructor. He was my teacher for that and for, was he? Yeah, he was my teacher for business communications and also for accounting. It was the same teacher. The first day of class in business communications, he wanted everyone to write one page of anything they wanted to write about. He just wanted to see what everyone's writing style was, what each person was going to need to work on, how he was going to need to teach each person, etc., etc. So the first day of class, I wrote a paper and I was done. Everybody was writing a first draft, a second draft, correcting punctuation, correcting this. That's stuff I've always been good at. I've never had to write out drafts like that. I sat down, I thought about what I wanted to write, and I wrote the paper and I handed it to him. And he's like, "You're already finished?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said, "Okay, well, I'll see you later in your next class and I'll let you know how we're gonna proceed." Well, he finds me later. I was in the computer lab and he finds me and he said, "You don't need my class." He said, "If you can write me a 2 or 3 page report," I don't remember which it was, about a particular, he gave me kind of some guidelines. If you write a 2 or 3 page this, then I will take that as your final test grade and test you out of the class. So I wrote a children's book, and I wrote it. Back then the computers were so old, I put little graphics on it and stuff. And I wrote a simple children's book that I wrote in probably 30 minutes and turned it in, and he gave me 100 for the class. So, and of course my computer classes, it was all the Microsoft classes. Not only did I nail every single one of them, but I was a tutor to several other kids in the class who were struggling. And I got my what's called a Master Mouse certificate, which is probably null and void in this day and age, but it means that I made an A and was 100% proficient in all of the Microsoft. It was Word, Excel, PowerPoint. I don't even remember the others. There was 5. There was 5 ones that I took a test in. But anyway, I'm not here to brag on myself because you know what? Out of my whole entire adult life, I actually used this certification for 2 years, and it was 2 of the worst years of my life. I hit total burnout. I have never been a person that can work 8 hours a day outside of my home. Even when I was part-time, I was in total burnout. That was also when my chiari symptoms were flaring up. I was living daily on ibuprofen. I mean, I was swallowing it like candy. I was falling down. I was coming home from work and I was sitting at a desk at work, and I would come home and I would sleep. I couldn't even cook my kids dinner, cook my husband dinner. I couldn't even hang out with my family. I would come home and go to sleep. I would sleep the entire weekend away. And aside from sleeping, I had such high anxiety. The whole time I wasn't at work, I had so much anxiety about going back to work. It took a huge toll on my mental health and my physical health. So the college certificate, going to college was kind of, I would say, for nothing. I've never used it in my adult life really, except for those 2 years. But it also wasn't worthless. So if you have an autistic child that wants to try going to college, or if you're autistic and you want to try going to college or pursuing anything else like that, do it. Even if you don't use it, do it, because I thoroughly enjoyed the 2 years I was there. I met some great professors. I met some great friends. I had great experiences. And I did gain a lot of knowledge because I use a lot of my computer skills even just here at home. And even more so now that I'm homeschooling Jackson. You know, we've made him business cards, and I print I make my own worksheets. I've made my own worksheets for book reports and for writing prompts and things like that. So it comes in handy, and I just love having the knowledge. I love learning, and I love, following my passions. So anyway, I have these last 2 shelves done. Let's get them put in, and I will do some sorting on these condiments. The amount of cat and dog hair in this house is just disgusting. But what can you do? We love our pets and we wouldn't want to be without them. I just clean the best I can. All right, let's get these put back in. There we go. I know the peppers are still good. They're new. My sugar-free barbecue sauce, I know it's good. Some of this stuff, the chicken dipping sauce, is long out of date. It expired a whole year ago. The Hawaiian barbecue sauce, I don't even know how long it's been in there. It can go. This is still good. We ate that on our hot dogs the other day. This expired in 2020. I know it hasn't been in my refrigerator that long. I wonder if it was old when we got it. Or maybe I'm dreaming. Maybe it has been in there that long. Next up, honey mustard. It expired last year. Balsamic vinegar. Does vinegar actually expire? It says it's expired, but I can't imagine that vinegar really expires. It smells fine. I would still use it. Do you use things that are expired, or do you not? I'm an iffy. It depends on what it is. Some of these sauces I would not. They have sugar in them or other artificial things in them that are probably going to mold or spoil. Vinegar is vinegar. It kills the germs, so I think it's all right. Whataburger spicy ketchup. It needs a good shake, but I know it's still good. I don't see a expiration date on it, but ketchup is ketchup. I don't think it's been in there that long, and also it has vinegar in it, so I'm pretty sure it's still good. I know my Worcestershire sauce is still good. Here is another jar of pickles. They're still good. This liquid smoke is unopened. I know it's still good. And my soy sauce and my pecane sauce are newish. And then we're back to these, which I will save for the grandkids. So let's get these put back in. We did it. It is complete. They're nice and clean, nice and organized. and nothing in there that's not any good. I think I rambled and cleaned for well over 45 minutes, so now comes the task of editing. I'll have to chop that down and speed a lot of it up. By the time I get it up for you guys to watch, maybe it'll only be 15 or 20 minutes. I do realize I've never thought of myself as a talker or a rambler, but through doing YouTube, I've noticed that I definitely can. I can ramble. I know my voice is kind of monotone and quiet. Hello, autism. But it's just me and this is who I am. But if I'm rambling too much, if I'm talking too much, if you guys want more action and less of the chit chat, just let me know in the comments. Let me know what I can do to improve my videos, or what do you like about them. I went down a rabbit hole and look what I found. I can't believe I still have these. For privacy reasons, obviously I marked out most of my name. But there you can see the classes that I took. And you can see that I had a grade point of 4.0. These are all the hours I took. So I went 3 semesters. I knew I went almost 2 years. I didn't do any summer classes because my kids were out of school. And then here's the honor, what is this called? Honor banquet that I got invited to since I was on the honor roll. There we have it. I'm smart. Weirdly smart in weird ways. That's autism for you, right? I'm definitely smart aleck. There's a few other not so nice terms for that, but I have a smart mouth and I have smart random facts in my brain. And you give me anything pertaining to my special interests and I will excel at it. But just like Jackson and so many other autistics, you try to put me in any other 40-hour grind or schoolwork or any work setting or any type of atmosphere that it's not a special interest and I'm not really into it, and I'm gonna fail at it. Or I'm gonna quit on it, either one. I just don't have it in me. But it was nice to take a trip back through time, another perk to YouTube and another perk just to making these videos for you guys. Thanks for the memories and thanks for someone to chat to about this stuff. Did you like college? Did you go to college? I'm not a mom that pushes my kids to go to college. I think for some people it's a great opportunity, but I think for others there are multiple trades out there that will pay you more money than you can make going to college without the debt. So I'm all for trade schools. I'm all for following your passions. I'm all for, whatever it takes to get you through this world, mental health wise, just as much as financially. This portfolio I found even has the story that I wrote to get out of the business communication class. It was a little kid's story about winning a goldfish at the circus or something at the fair. How funny is that? This is my portfolio. It has all of my Microsoft certificates and a resume and all kinds of stuff in it. I forgot I even had this. How cool. See you next time. Have a great day.